Okay, this is a process called mud fossilization. And what happened was, in what was quite likely the Great Flood, these body parts became preserved in a process called nucleophilic substitution. And the reason they became preserved in their complete totalness, even like a goose, the feathers and everything, became totally preserved. And the reason is, there was a great flood on this earth 3,500 years ago, and this was researched by Professor Velikovsky, who was one of the premier researchers in ancient texts. He went to every library, every museum, every place where they stored these ancient records, and went through them and discovered that everybody had the same story all around the world. There was a gigantic, huge flood. There was 7 days of intense light coming towards the Earth, Venus, and as it approached the Earth, it overheated the Earth, and literally the compression of the two atmospheres together caused the skies to burst into flames, basically combust. And it also fractured and wrenched the earth so bad that all of the volcanoes on earth erupted, is what was recorded. Now, these are not my words. These are the words of the people that were there and witnessed the accounts. Velikovsky did the research, and they destroyed him for presenting it, just like they had tried to destroy everybody else that presents research. Now, Darwin came up with a theory that was wrong about everything developing from a single cell and so forth, and everything was evolution from virtually nothing, just all of a sudden turned into all this complexity that we see. And that just wasn't right. However, I respect anyone that comes forward with some kind of evidence. Now, he had some kind of evidence. I agree that evolution is absolutely 100% a process, but it's not a process of species evolving. It's a process of just dealing with the little problems that come up as you touch them in your life, and your body programs itself and evolves to deal with these little situations. But it doesn't turn you from a snail into a human being. That's just ridiculous. And now, there was stories written, and again, I am a historian, I'm a biologist, I'm a chemist, I'm an anatomist, I'm a physicist, I do all of that stuff. So when I make a decision, I have to take every one of those things into account. All these other people say, oh, I'm a geologist, that's all. They told me that's feldspar, case closed. No. That is not feldspar. This is not, you can call it whatever you want, but this is collagen. This is the same stuff that is the fabric of life. It coats all the organs in your body. It coats bones. It's called collagen. It coats your skin. It coats all your organs. It coats your lungs. Like this lung right here that was DNA tested and proven to be human. All right, and that's the depression of the heart. It's a left human lung, and it's flat as a pancake because this died in the Great Flood like that, laying on its back. Now, again, a hot water Great Flood. Really, what happened was this got basically parboiled. This became boiled just like you would take a body or a creature, a chicken or whatever. And if you took that whole chicken and you boiled it, and boiled it and boiled it, and then just let it sit there, everything would disassociate from everything else because it separates on these fascial planes. This is what I call a fascia plane. It's fascia. And this is a surface that coats this and keeps it away from everything else in your body. This can't, your lungs and, your heart and your kidneys and your bones and your ribs and all that stuff have to stay separated from this. This is the process of this, what they call feldspar. But it wasn't feldspar then. It was pleura, and it was fascia, and it was the coating of life. And that right there, that head is a real human head. And the reason you see these black and red oxides, this is called iron oxides. Well, your blood is made out of iron. Iron oxide is nothing but what your blood is. And black is the used blood, and it's called bone black. And it's inside of bones. You see that black in there? This is a bone. And inside that bone is the bone black. Same stuff. And this guy's head was crushed in with some, I don't know, some club or something. And somebody stepped on his nose or whatever and crushed it and split the nose away from the cartilage. And this is what they would call sandstone, feldspar. It is not just some kind of carved head. And this is the guy last night screamed, "Ah, carved head, you're an idiot." Oh, he was really nasty. And this is just what you run into because they are so educated that they can't learn. And that's the problem with academia. They have no ability to learn. It's really incredible when you get down to what the mindset of academia is. It's well, I don't want to be nasty, but it's not good. Okay, I'm not going to get into it deep, but I show the DNA reports, I show the CAT scans, I show the specimens, I show the chemistry, everything about my research. There is nothing hidden here, and it's very hard to dispute anything that I'm presenting because it's all backed up by scientifically validated evidence. So, you can come up and look through all my stuff. I got a ton of videos, I mean a ton of them. And they go back to all of the things that were written about in the past. And all of the things, even light. And I'm looking for friendly discussion on physics. I'm looking for friendly discussion on our past. I'm looking for friendly discussion on anything. I want to debate with Bill Nye. I want to debate with anybody, Lawrence Kuhn. I've been trying to get through to all of these people, and nobody will debate with me. And I lost trust in current science, and here is the evidence for why. All right, and it's time that we start all over. Here, DNA ancient human beings. I have it. I have it. I have the ancient human being body parts, and they are giants, some of them. Some of them are just our size. Some of them are new species, like this right here. I call this a no-toe. The toes are built right into the foot. Okay, my outstanding friends, this is Roger once again. Today I'm going to go back to interstitium, which is something that I found in my mud fossils years ago, and I contacted virtually everybody. And the only one that had any really knowledge about it was Gil Hedley. Now, I am not associated to Gil in any way. He's not part of my research other than I send him things, pictures and so forth, and I say, is this anatomically correct? And so far, he's agreed with virtually everything I've ever said. And he is extremely gifted, trust me. And he is the only one that knew about interstitium. This is probably close to 10 years ago. And now they have said, meet your interstitium, a newly found organ. This is back in 2018. And this is what the interstitium is. And I can tell you why they never knew about it is because by the time they get stuff, they get them in slides like this. They're flat as a pancake. Well, you see this kind of a microscope over here? Here, hold on. You see that? That's the kind of microscope they use. They use the really fine and look at them real close up, and they, but they're flat as a pancake because that is the key. The thinner the slide, the better the resolution, basically, is what they say. Now, and then I've got all these little different samples, cool different things of bees' wings and all kinds of things. But you can, and then I'm doing Himalayan red salt here, Himalayan pink salt. See it? It's in there. That pink stuff is in there. Anyway, what I'm going to show you here is interstitium. That's interstitium. Whoops, you can't see that, can you? All right, this is the interstitium. You see this right here? That's interstitium. This is a bone. That's a ball of a bone. Now, what they're doing now, they call it concretion. They take the stuff out. They think they're concretions. They think this is just mud that covered this bone. And when they get that bone out of there by getting rid of all of this stuff, they're happy. Well, let me tell you something. That is not just concretion. That is a tendon. And it is also muscle. You see looking down on it here? This is the tendon. This is a fingertip. Well, it's heading up towards the finger. That's the bone ball, right somewhere right about at the knuckle area. Now, this right here is the tendon that runs off, and I'm going to show you the anatomical. And that right there, you see that little dot in the center there? That's the core of the tendon. And it runs off, and that's the abrupt transition. It turns into basically a muscle at that point, so you can move your finger around. That is muscle. You see that? That's the weave of the muscle on the other side of the ball. This side is totally eroded away. This side is not. This is literally the bone that would have attached to this bone. All right, so this is, appears to me. Now, you can see underneath, whoops, this is the round part of the bone. This has been all eroded away and filled in with mud and so forth. You see this red mud? That is nothing more than bone marrow and flesh and the reddy, bloody part of bodies. That's why it ran off and it collected in these muds. They're all over the world, these red clay muds. And when, you know, I could show you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of examples of the things I'm talking about. Now don't forget, this is a tendon. That little bead right there is the core of the tendon. It anchors it. Now, this is the muscle. That, I believe, is the broken bone that would have attached back to this bone. And this is the interstitium. Now, I showed you this microscope. Whoops, you can't see again. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Here we go. I showed you that microscope over there. That one there, I almost never use anymore. This is the one I use. This one here, you can see virtually everything. And it's and you can see it from long distance, you can see it right up close. So let's take a look at what interstitium looks like in this kind of a microscope, because we can see it in this. I'm not getting them flat like a pancake. This was just exactly what the guy looked like when he was living. That was what it was. You know, it's a little flat. You see how it's flat here? Again, died like that. All that stuff eroded away. Everything was in the flood, and there's a flat side. Well, not every. Well, yeah, I guess about everything. Just about everything I got was in the flood, and that's what happened. So you got a flat side, and then you got erosion on that side. This side is not eroded. That's still the tendon. That's still the tendon. That's still the muscle. That's still the bone ball. All right, so let's look at it in an anatomical, and I can show you this slides right off of the tendon and runs down. Well, you'll see in a second. Okay, I'm going to show you that knuckle and so forth. You see these balls here, these round balls? That's the only ones that are round. So it has to be one of these. And it came down this way, and I said it broke here, and it ran out that way. This right down here, can you see that? Yes, you can. This is the knuckle ball, and the bone runs back this way. The bone is broken off, so we've got a piece running down the side. Here it is, exactly here. You see this? That's the bone ball. All right? It's broken right here where it would have run down the hand to, the ball is here, it would have run down here. All right, so the ball is here, it would run. There is, you see this? And there's the abrupt transition. Well, there's one on the other side of this too. And that's the one, this side's gone, and we're going to look at this red fleshy stuff here in a second. But this is the other side, and it's still got the muscle wrapped around the bone ball. And this is exactly like this, only it's on the other side. Right? I think you can follow that. And then you see this flat strap? It's exactly the same. The flat strap runs right up to the fingertips. I hope that made sense. Now, it has to be that ball, and it has all the characteristics, and it has the tendon in the center, and it has everything. And I have I have all the anatomy here. I have everything I need to verify what I'm saying, and then I present it to anatomists, and they just say, well, yes or well, no. So far, you know, I'm pretty accurate about what I do. I'm not just guessing. I don't just grab a stone and say, oh, this must be this, it must be that. I find the blood vessels, I find the anatomy, I find every bit about it. And then I had them all DNA tested, CAT scanned, the whole 9 yards. So I'm not just playing games here. This is serious stuff to me. Okay, truth is I can't remember if I showed you this or not, but I have DNA reports for 3 separate things. One of them was this lung, human lung. One of them was for the hand and the knuckle and the palm and the fingertips and all this stuff. That was a lot of stuff from that particular hand. And one of them was from another, just much even bigger than this. And this was very well done. It was excellent quality DNA. You know, it goes down and down and down. I have this online. But here's the bottom line: Homo sapien mitochondrial B and D loop. Now, I took the extractions from these and sent them off. I didn't contaminate them. They were deeply drilled inside of arteries. So, take it from there.